on April 15th. Hello, this is Benjamin Fulford speaking on April 15th, 2022. Sometimes we need to step back and look at the big picture. And this is definitely one of those times. Our information networks are filled with nothing but horror stories about massacres in the Ukraine and disease and poison and, just a whole cloud of negativity. It's all come and get you. Bad stuff's going to happen. But let's take a bigger look at what's really going on. When I first got involved with Asian secret societies, it was because I had been invited to join a group. They call themselves the Illuminati or other names, but basically they told me they wanted to kill 90% of humanity. And they explained it as follows, that they wanted to save nature. But they also said that they were trying to overthrow the creator because they said all the misery and suffering in the world that's happening, it shows that the creator of this universe is evil. And therefore, we need to overthrow the creator and replace it with their god, Lucifer, who is a source of light and goodness. Now, all right, here's how things really work. We did not create ourselves. Something else created us. And that means that what we need to do is respect the creation. And respecting the creation means respecting other life forms, respecting other humans. And that's the essence behind the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Now, this is not to say that the creation is benevolent. I don't think so. I think it's just, it is. It has everything, good, bad, and in between. But it's what it is. Our job as humans is to make the creation better, is to improve upon it. We're the stewards of creation, and we can make it better, and that's what we should be doing. Now, this other group, they seem to think that because there is no creator, the creator is evil, that they can do whatever they want. But no, that's not how it works. Morality isn't about fear of going to hell or divine punishment. It's just common sense. It's karma. Whatever you do comes back and hits you. And that's what's happening now with the West. When I first got involved with this, the Asian secret societies offered support. I had a conversation with Dr. Michael Van der Meer, who was the head of MI6 or whatever, the British intelligence. And I said to him, we were supposed to be the good guys. What the hell happened? And he said, it was the Jews. And I thought, what? That doesn't make sense. And that's what set me on a deep dive of searching for information. And, the result is that, the problem is not the Jews. The Jews are the victims of a group that we know of as Satanists. And this is playing out very clearly in the Ukraine. They're actually, uncovering sacrificial sites to Satan. And we're dealing with an ancient cult that it goes back literally thousands of years. That's what we're fighting. In the Ukraine, it's not the Ukrainian forces who are fighting. It's mercenaries hired by the people who control the Western central banks. What happens is when people are sent to war, most, humans are reluctant to kill other humans. But some think of it as a sport. They relish it, and they're scouted into private military companies, special forces, whatever. And these are the people who are now being used to try to, still destroy this creation. That's what these people are after. Okay? So this is not about China. This is not about Russia. It's not about East versus West. It's about humanity versus a satanic cult that has seized the highest levels of world power. That's what we're fighting for. For NATO to attack Russia is incredibly stupid from all sorts of levels. Basically, it gives everything to China. It forces the Russians and their massive military machine right into the hands of China. And the Chinese hardliners say, from now on, China's going to be the center of the world. China's going to rule the world. And that's not what we want. We don't want this current group that, owns the United Nations. Okay, it's a privately owned corporation registered in California. It's not the world, okay? And they also own the IMF, the World Bank, and most of the Fortune 500 companies. It's the usual suspects, these Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and these families who are at the top of the satanic cult that slowly seized power in the West over centuries, culminating probably, I would say, in 9/11, which was a fascist coup d'etat that ended democracy in the United States permanently, or at least for now, and replaced it with fascism. Fascism is controlled by corporations, and that's why you have corporations illegally censoring presidents and preventing them from, talking to the public, stuff like that. It's a coup d'etat by these people, but the world is rising against them. We are fighting in many different ways, and we are going to win. Right now, for example, today I'm wearing a Canadian T-shirt with a Canadian emblem to note that Canada always stood for, human rights, democracy, decency, harmony with nature, harmony between different groups of peoples. And now it's been taken over by a non-democratic group that is promoting totalitarian lockdown of society and subverting democracy. And it is no doubt about it. There's been a satanic coup d'etat in Canada. This happened a long time ago in the United States, and it's also the case in most of Western Europe. But that is ending. I'm confident that the French military will liberate France from the control of the cult that uses Emmanuel Macron as their spokesperson. This is the Rothschild family. Remember, their family name was originally Bauer, which is kind of like peasant or Smith or something, but they changed it to Rothschild, the red shield of Satan. And, Macron worked for them. He needs to be ousted, and France needs to restore its traditional alliance with the United States and Russia. I'm talking about the real United States, not this fake studio-generated Biden regime that's really just a, fascist PR show, as anybody who's aware knows. There is nobody in Washington, D.C. The U.S. government shut down after their bankruptcy of the United States Corporation in January of 2020. What we're seeing now is a corporate fiction pretending to be a government. And we're also seeing a desperate attempt by these cultists, these Satanists, who are the ancient enemies of the Jews, to start their long wished for World War III. So they just sank a Russian warship, hoping to, provoke this World War III. They've been doing all sorts of things to try to do that. But, Chairman Mao once said that all it takes is a single spark to start a prairie fire. But that only works if the prairie is dry and about to burn. If it's a rainforest, you can set off all the sparks you want, and it's not going to start a fire. And we're dealing right now with a rainforest of love, of harmony, of friendship, of people who want a better planet, and who understand that killing each other is really stupid, and it's not going to solve anything. So no matter how many times they try to provoke this World War III, it's not going to happen. But, there are points that force any living creature to fight. A rabbit can kill a raccoon if it's cornered. Okay? It's a very peaceful animal. But if it's cornered, it has no choice. It will fight to the death. And we are at a point where we have a group that is clearly and obviously actively trying to kill us. We are now exercising our legitimate right of self-defense. And we're systematically removing these people from power. Now, this means at the end of the day, we're going to have to replace the United Nations with something else, okay? Now, right now, if you're looking at the news, you can see there's talk about removing Russia from the United Nations Security Council. But let's think about this for a minute, okay? The United Nations Security Council, the permanent members of the Security Council, the ones who hold a veto, are the United States, Russia, China, England, and France. Now, 4 of these are Western. Only 1 is Asian. That does not reflect the world, okay? It reflects Western colonialism with a bow to the Chinese because they're giving us all this gold. Now, what our group has proposed is a much better system where we divide the world into 7 regions. One is the Americas, including North and South America. Another is Europe, including Russia. Another one is the Muslim world, centered around the Middle East, Turkey and Saudi Arabia and Iran and Egypt. Then we have India, the Indian subcontinent. Then we have Asia, except China, and then China. And our proposal is very simple, that existing countries will stay as they are, but for anything that we have to deal with as a whole, because we all use the same oceans, we breathe the same air, we are guardians of the same nature, then these groups will make decisions. And the process is by majority vote. So the reason why it's 7 is because that means there'll always be a majority. And the veto in our system that we've proposed, and this has been sent to all world governments, including the UN, is that the veto would only be for that one country's region. So, for example, if the world wanted to ban pork, that's the example I always use, and the Chinese say, no, we're never going to give up our pork, they will continue eating pork in China, even if it's banned elsewhere. And this is the system that has been studied by the U.S. military. The U.S. military did lots and lots of war games, and they found that the optimal group is around 6 or 7 people. It's like a small hunter-gatherer tribe. Because what we're dealing with, really, is the psychological process of deciding what we, as a species, do in the future. And I think moving in the future, into the future as a small tribe of hunter-gatherers is the most natural way for us to, govern ourselves, and it's the most free way. Right now, what we're fighting with is a group that thinks that there should be a single God king, a single eye on the top of the pyramid that controls everything. This is the essence of monotheism. It's a system of absolute totalitarianism that uses an abstract God to hide the existence of a very real world ruler. The evidence right now seems to point to Klaus Schwab as the head of this group who wants to become a dictator, but, that's not going to happen, although, they are still very powerful and they're fighting for their lives. But we're not going to let them do it. It's that simple. I'm going to pause here because someone just rang my doorbell. So right now, there's a lot of high-level secret negotiations taking place. A representative of NATO is supposed to meet with a representative of the White Dragon Society and the British Royals and the Committee of 300 this weekend. We are hoping we can announce some kind of peace deal and some kind of new system for running the planet, but we cannot be naive. We're dealing with a very, very intelligent, very powerful group that has been ruling at least the West or the monotheistic world for millennia. And they are not going to go quietly into the night, but we're going to gently nudge them out of power. We're going to try to convince them to do the right thing. At the same time, it's a hostage situation, and we don't want them to create mass murder events. So it's a long process, but we are winning. And I know from a fact that there are very high-level negotiations taking place right now. We are in touch, and when I talk about the Alliance. This is a group of people that includes the Committee of 300, the British Commonwealth, the Russians, the Asian secret societies, the White Hats and the Pentagon and the agencies. This group is winning, and we are in negotiations. But like I said, we are dealing with a group that probably the fanatic members will fight to the death. There will be no compromise. So, there's going to be a bit more turbulence, but I know that a basic agreement has been reached, and we will, at the end of the day, have a new age where our purpose as a species will be to increase the amount of plants, animals, humans, and nature. Just more of everything, more life, and healthy, happy life. That's what we're all struggling for. We just want to have love and peace and friendship and and dream together about a better future. What kind of world do we want to live in? How do we get there? How do we make it all better? And, in a realistic way. That's what we're fighting for. We're fighting to liberate humanity, and we are going to win. So don't be distracted by all the fear porn that's out there. It's just the noise being made by a dying beast. Ignore it, okay? You're not going to die of disease. There's not going to be World War III. They're not going to starve you to death. They're not going to kill you, okay? It's just fear porn. They don't have the power. They don't have the ability to do it. They do not control the creation. They do not control reality. What they control is a false construct of lies that's supported by large media conglomerates and supercomputers, but it's not supported by the real world and by real people. So hang in there, folks. We will win this, and it's not going to be that long, but we're going to have to keep fighting until humanity is finally liberated. All right, that's what I have to say today. Now I'd like to answer questions from readers and viewers.
And we have our first question today. I keep hearing about EBS. Are you familiar with this? And if so, could you please tell us what you know about it and when it may happen?
You're talking about an emergency broadcasting system, I believe, where they're going to suddenly take over all the U.S. airwaves and announce that something has changed. That could and should happen, but it's going to require an agreement with the Asians about replacing the bankrupt U.S. corporation with a republic and, erasing the debts of the corporation. And when that happens, and it will happen, then the emergency broadcasting system